Hi, Potel family, and welcome back to another episode of Potel Podcast. We're so glad to have you here. Today, I am joined with two amazing guests, and I'd like them to introduce themselves. We'll start with you, lady in red.
Hi, my name is Braxton Were. Yeah, and I'm happy to be here.
My name is Daisy, and I'm also happy to be here today.
Nice to see you, ladies. We have a conversation that I think is relevant because one of the conversations that we've been having online is about people evolving and maturing and you holding space for people's evolution. And I think this episode was birthed from that ideology that people grow and people mature. And it put me on a journey of self reflection to think about what are things that I did not value in my early 20s or in even my teenage years that right now are crucial. Usipofanya, tunakosana, And I thought about that and I was like, I would like to hear also what other people think about this. What are some of the things that they can see in their life that has changed? And are they similar to mine? Like, is it an age thing? Is it a life choices thing? Like, what are the things that have changed? And I think I'll start it off. I think one of the things that I used to take for granted that I right now are so critical, or some of the things that I see in my life that has changed is family. Acha niwaambie, me I think nilikwanga wale watu family yangu tu, they are just my ride or die. They're not going anywhere. Tu wako tu. And then coming from a big family, I'm South Sudanese. Hint, hint. Coming from a big family, you always just feel like they're always there. And then you grow up, and then awako, wako na lives zao, they have moved on, and then now you have to be intentional about talking to your brother. You have to be intentional about meeting your sister, and that has really changed my POV. And even beyond my siblings, my parents, I think humanizing them and seeing them as human beings beyond what they did to me when I was a child. Like haizi mimi mama yangu tunakanga che and we just yeah. Kwa haizi unajua mimi na mama yangu haizi tunaongea Kisudi. Iconic. Unakisemanga hivyo ni so funny. Juu sana nikamwambia unajua. You know, mimi na mama yangu tunahanga chini. Juzi we had a whole rant about Ruto and Kisudi. Iconic. My mom was just when your parent is like super into the language, they just drop words jaisikia. Unashanga hii msamiati. Hii ni maudhui mpya umeadd in the chat. Hizi zimetokeaje similes mpya? So just family has really changed. Like how, especially my mother, her input. Nimekuwa nikiona hiyo vitu ya I told my mom when one mimia, mom, don't advise me. You chose my father. You can't give me dating advice. You chose my dad, and we were having that conversation. We're like, mom. By the way, if I decide today, if I could about dating, you don't have the credentials. Ananiambia ni ukweli. Mbaya, lakini can advise you better. Juu nimeenda huko, najua akushow. So that was like, that's a good one. That's a nice one. Brax, tell us. What is something that you have outgrown, you have evolved, things that didn't matter to you then and matter to you a lot now?
Just I think I'll ride on yours before I say others. Yeah, I think really family is something that like I just knew they were there. I would ningetoka shuleni wapate hapo. I would just know that nitatoka, my mom atatoka job and akuwe hapo. And I think now that I'm growing, I realize that one, life is not so cast on stone. That's another thing that people, especially looking at my friends, some of them have lost their loved ones, and sometimes it really shakes me. And then I think, of course, during that teenage phase of mine, I wasn't so close with my mom. In fact, hey, wait, like I just didn't want, because moms, and as girls you can relate during that time when anakwambia achana na mambo ya vijana, anakwambia hata wewe, and I'm just like, mom, what do you know? And so I think there's a period in my life where my relationship with my mom was a bit strenuous, but now I can't imagine my life without my mom. Amekuwa my best friend ile baya, and now that I'm about to move out, because maybe nimeishi home, I still live at home, because being in a campus which is close to my home, I still commute, right? And so next year, now that I'm about to like move out, I can't imagine my life without them, because I'm so used to them. And there's the time I would take anything to leave that home, not because it was a bad place, but I just wanted to be independent. I'm 18, I can live on my own. saizi niko, can I take online KSL classes? Is it like, can I just
It's
wanna,
possible, imagine.
I know I can, but mamangu ako enda, because she wants me to get that experience, but also know she'll miss me because she's been hinting it, and I'm just like, I can't believe I'm growing up, yeah. And so right now I'm just cherishing every moment, yeah.
And I feel like I also resonate with your point because I feel like the moment I started like nearing my mid 20s, because I'm 25 right now. So when I got to 24, I think it was kind of like a switch to like heal my mother wounds. You see, because when you're again that period where you kind of like your relationship with your mom is really strenuous, it impacts your inner child. You won't say it openly, you won't even know, but then you will see the results of it later when something happens and the first thing you think is, I need my mom. Like I need to tell mom, or my mom would have given me the best advice. But then at that point you have exactly hamjatengeneza relationship yako with your mom, you see. So inaacha that wound ikiwa open, you see. So like as I kept nearing 24, 25, I felt the urge to like be closer to my mom because I think she's the closest female figure I have in my life that I've always had all my life. So most of the experiences that I had, even through the times when our relationship was a bit strained, I feel like she could relate to some of that because she's been a woman before.
Yeah.
She's the closest example of what the woman I want to become is. You see, she's the closest example of that. So it's only automatic that I look up to her.
Yeah.
But then I can't like say that I look up to her without being close to this woman. You see, so it had to get to a point where I had to like mend the relationship with my mom. It had to come out of me. You see, I wasn't forced by anyone. So it was that's what I'm saying. It was like a switch.
Yeah, that's
Because I found myself going through some things that really required my mom's wisdom. You see, and in order to seek that, I had to be close to her. So I had to mend that relationship. If I was 20, when I was 20 and still hard headed, if you told me that the first person I should call in case of anything is my mom, ningekwambia wewe umechizi bro. You're
Fiat.
mad.
Yeah.
You're crazy. Because I felt like at that time my mom was my literal enemy because Uni off bana, what do you mean? Haunitakii future husband, sijui haunitakii boyfriend, haunitakii freedom, nini nini. But then looking back, alikuwa tu na the best intentions for me. You see? It's sad that sometimes you have to go through things in order to come out of the other side in order to like learn the lessons. Kama ningesikia maneno hiyo time mtu akiniambia, you know what, tulikuwa mbali and I was such a child, I was so rebellious and everything. But yeah, I'm just glad I got to a point where I made my mom my best friend. She's my little best friend right now. Yeah. It's so important, by the way. It's really important, mom.
Number 2.
But yeah, that's one of the things I prioritize right now that I wouldn't even think to prioritize then. Yeah.
I am champion you. So, I think one of the things that also thinking about is health. To know me is to know I'm a gym rat, and everyone always asks me, "Why you go to the gym? Wacha kwa dongo." Wacha kwa dongo because I think we also need to stop having this mindset that the gym is for fat people, or exercise is for fat people. I realized I was the skinniest and healthiest person I knew. I remember the first time I went to the gym, niliambiwa, I was like, no, I'm just here to tone and to just get some abs and to do like stretches. Pink Pilates ilikuwa imeniingia hivi kwa akili, imekuwa imeshika hivi brain, not allowing me to breathe. Then my trainer at the time was like, "Oh, good, okay, that's okay, that's nice. Nipe hapa push up tano."
Karibu wache lungs hapo muda.
Hey! Nikarealize kumbe mkono wangu ni decoration. Haina any strength of its own. Ni deco. Akaniambia, that's okay. Push ups are usually hard. Let's go tufanye hii ingine. Nina hema. Nikasema, oh my goodness, I'm fit. And it hit me about health and fitness and all of these things that just came together. And then it even now matured to me thinking about reproductive health and realizing how much it's under researched and how little we know about our bodies beyond just that we have a menstrual cycle and not even knowing how much this menstrual cycle impacts our minds, our lives, our those hormones that tunaambiwa tuko hormonal. These hormones, how they're so fundamental to our being. Yani ilikuwa nakaa hivi nasema like how have I been living not knowing any of these things? So that really changed when I grew. Of course, being in my late 20s saizi, if I knew this, ningetoka kwa womb hivi na
Shanza kulift.
Move aside and breastfeed, but you know colostrum is important for my but those are some of the things. And beyond just my physical health, I think my spiritual health became also very important. Like when I was younger, I used to pray, of course. I got born again when I was 17. So I used to pray, yes, but it was as a sense of like duty and like a checklist.
Yeah.
I think right now, when I think about the decisions I'm about to make, especially the monumental decisions, I cannot imagine not sitting down and praying about them. I cannot imagine just moving forward and not having like some sort of assurance that I have sought the ultimate wisdom. You know, I'm just like, it's a new brain. Nakaka hivi nasema, nasijaomba. Hii ni shetani anataka kunishika huko mbele. And also not over spiritualizing everything, that now that everything goes bad, it's demons and nini. Also understanding that there's a place for, you make mistakes and mistakes happen, but it's not like I failed to pray about it. Like prayer really changed things, and just the spiritual practice that I've grown over the years has really impacted the kind of person I am, even the kind of quiet I have in my brain. Brain yangu ilikuwa scatter brain. Yani saizi nakanga hivi, it's quiet. Nima tu Rosmuando tu pale. Utamu nimeonja utamu, and I get it. I get that vibe. My brain is quieter. I'm able to notice when there's a chaos, and I can rule out where the chaos is coming from, and being able to address it face on without feeling like I have to run or I have to deal with it immediately. You know, so much has changed with prioritizing my spiritual health and also my physical health. Yeah, Brax.
I think now that you've mentioned spiritual health, and I think, I'm a Christian too. And whenever I think about spiritual health, it's closely tied to mental health because, well, at least for me, right? And like you've said, you've reached a point where you can have quiet in your mind. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think mental health is something that I never used to prioritize when I was, in my, of course, when I was a kid. As a kid, I sikuwa najua mental health ni nini. And of course, sometimes being raised in African homes, that mental health is not something that, your parents, something won't happen. I mean, something will happen and they won't sit down and ask you, or rather just process it with you. Utaenda tu ucheze and that's it. Yeah. And now that I'm older, I noticed that one, I barely process stuff, and if I do, it's very slow. And by the time I'm reaching to that point where I can actually, tell that this actually happened and start internalizing it, a lot of damage has happened in my head because now sometimes you find yourself projecting. Nasi, of course, kuna ile projecting, nowadays people talk about it, being mean to people and stuff. But I think mine was being mean to myself. And one of the comments I used to get from people who I would let close to me is, you harshly judge yourself. I would be so strict to myself, hard on myself. Because again, I always wanted to be Miss Perfect. And again, being a firstborn, I'm also a firstborn.
Firstborn daughter.
And
the pressure is getting worse.
I know, wewe ndio example kila mahali. Na unajua wewe ndio watu wanakuangalia and stuff.
True.
And then again, my parents also raised me in society. Ilea, it's not just my parents who raised me. My auntie was involved. People in the church were involved, and so it was just too much pressure. And I always had this urge to be perfect. And so as a result, whenever things would happen, I would just suppress them and move on from it. Sometimes not only understanding why I'm making the right decision moving forward, so I would just it was like I was a robot, right? And so the consequences of it were so heavy because now I even started processing stuff that happened when I was a kid. And yeah, I think my relationship with God, my spiritual health is something that has played an importance in rectifying that, because now I still suck at processing stuff. In fact, yeah, Sissy knows that sometimes someone will be mean to me and me sita notice. Sisi will notice it.
Nimeshika
Yale
nare.
jam amekasirika, she's ready to, fight the battle for me. Me hata sija notice. And then I'll go home, and even after a week or even two, there's a situation I processed for like 6 months. And that's when I was able to like confront this person and be like, anyway, that wasn't good.
It's been 6 months
It's
now.
been 6 months, and of course, there are people who will receive that well and be like, yeah, that wasn't nice. But some people will be like, it's been 6 months,
Why are you
move
still on
on.
this?
Yeah. But for me, it's something that I just have to address because I didn't process it then. And then, of course, sometimes it makes your relationships weird because you end up being a people pleaser,
True.
right? Because you just smile with them because, yes, you hurt me. I'm friendly with you, not because I don't know you hurt me, but I don't like I didn't process it. And so sometimes I'm just so unaware of the fact that you did. I know you make me feel some type of way sometimes, but I'm still cool with you. And so that's something that I really had to evaluate. And then yeah, I've lost my train of thought, but you get the gist.
We
Yeah,
get the
so
gist. We
yeah,
get the
basically
vibes.
mental health
Yeah.
and yeah.
Okay, so from what you've said, it would kind of, okay, I think I'll be digressing a bit, but then it would lead me to ask, do you feel like being raised as a firstborn in society, in a place where you are forced to just go with the flow, because most of the times with African parents, you're not, most of the times you're an extension of them.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not your own person.
You're just receiving.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
receiving instructions
Yeah.
and executing whatever they tell you to do,
Yeah.
right?
Your
And
identity
whatever
is
they
them.
program into you.
Yeah.
Then did you get to a point where you kind of had like an identity crisis? Because then your real self, at some point, no matter how much you deny it, your real self will demand to come
To come
out,
out.
because you can't live being an extension of somebody
Oh,
for the rest of your life. You can't.
I'm not sitting boy, I just get it.
Tutakuja kwako, the neglected ones. We are coming. We're, we
Clock that
are
tea, clock
we're
that
coming for
tea.
you.
But
Oh,
yeah, yeah, nilikuwa tunataka kujua kama ilifika some point where you kind of like struggled to separate, you try to separate those two individuals, the person that your parents and your relatives and everybody who saw you growing up knew, and the person that you want to be, the person that you actually feel like is true to you.
yeah.
You see, did you ever get to that point?
That's actually a very interesting question. And as I've mentioned, I'm in my early 20s. I'm 22, right? And so I can say I'm still going through that. And the one thing about me is I tend to be composed. And so outwardly I might appear so calm, but the crisis is going on in terms of I still I'm still trying to learn who I am. And then the fact that I live at home doesn't make that discovery any better because I'm still under the watch of my parents. And then not only that, but they still expect me to do stuff. And I think, as you mentioned, being a firstborn, not only are you raised, but it's like you're being molded to be someone who the family can depend on, right? Because I think for me, one thing I would constantly learn from my parents is siku moja tutakuwa hapa, and you have siblings. and yeah, ni wewe ndio utakuwa tunakutegemea, right? And so I've always had that pressure, and at some point I think I resented my parents for it, but now that I've gotten close to my mom, I kind of understand why, and yeah, and it makes me okay, or rather accept that pressure that she sometimes I feel her mounting on me. And of course, a part of me sometimes is not okay with it because I just want to be a girl, you know. And I think that's the beauty of the friendships I've gotten now that I'm older, because they allow me to be that girl that I just am, you know. Or even romantic relationships. Mamangu asisikie. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like sometimes you get into friendships and you discover a whole new side to yourself that you never really knew existed. And so I can say I'm still discovering myself. I can't really say I have known who I am. And I guess it's a crisis because sometimes I find myself crashing out because you can feel the pressure. You know, it's just too much. And then at some point, I remember one time I was telling God, I don't even know who I am anymore because I don't know whether the person I am is as a result of what my parents have been molding me to be. And of course, the society is watching. And you notice people have various expectations of you. And so you've been living up to those, but sometimes when you're with yourself you don't even know. I remember this one time someone said, do you enjoy your own company? And I'm just like, what in the world are you saying? Enjoying whose company? Yeah. And even I know.
True.
And even now that mental health conversations have been surfacing, people talking about depression and all these things, I'm a person who finds it's hard to internalize the whole idea of depression, because I'm just like, how can someone be depressed? It was something that never really resonated with me, and now it makes sense because one, I am not a processor of my emotions, like I never used to do it. And so mtu akiniambia, there's this one time mtu akaniuliza, am I depressed? And I'm like, uongo. Mi niko sawa because again nitatoka
Oh,
niwachekeshe.
that's denial face is
Yeah.
actually very familiar. You're like, no,
Exactly.
mi siko sad.
Because again, I'm
Not
cheaper.
sad.
I'm usually very bubbly. In fact, I'll make people laugh. And I think now that I'm thinking about it, I can tell that there are moments in my life where I was on the verge of depression. It's just that I wasn't so quick to spot it, and I didn't know how to deal with that, because even now I think the moments when, of course, now I can clock myself to it. Being a Christian, kuna saa zingine you just notice, kuna sadness ingine yenye ni very sketchy. It has the devil written all over it, right? And so right now it's easier clocking it, but yeah, I'm still navigating that.
So I feel like we all have kind of the same ideas, because she's also mentioned friendships, and friendships was also next in my list. That was the next thing I was gonna talk about. So um, a while ago, like back then, everybody could be my friend. Everybody. You
Relate.
see, I was one of those people mwenye ukiingia kwa gate ya shule, by the time unafika class you're actually late because you've been saying hi from the guard at the gate to the secretary at the reception. Man, everybody used to be my friend. I used to be everybody's friend, but then I didn't realize how draining that was, you see, because you're giving yourself out to so many people.
Yeah.
Some of these people don't even know you, they just know your name and your face, so they have to act nice and be like, oh my
Yeah, kuna
god,
vibes.
mambo.
Vibes and
You
each
see,
other.
so just giving yourself parts of yourself to these so many people, I realized that with time hiyo kitu ilikuwa inani drain, because then I don't know, I just ended up feeling empty. Like unakaa chini, you look around, you have so many friends, but then you don't have a friend. You have so many of them, but then you don't have anyone that unaweza name qualities zake mbili na a name qualities zako mbili. Ilikuwa mbaya sis, ilikuwa mbaya. It used to be terrible, you see. So that was back then. I was such, I don't know. I think being an extrovert is a curse and a blessing at the same time.
Yeah.
Because then you have all these people around you, you see?
Yeah.
You have people, but then you don't have your people. You don't have your people. So I don't know. I think hata mimi ilini lead to the verge of depression, because then I would, anytime nikitaka tuseme kwenda out, I have somebody to call, tunaenda out na yeye. Hata si somebody, people, I had people I could call, tunaenda out na wao, we do all these fun things together, nini nini, lakini ikifika kwa things to do with myself internally, if I needed somebody to talk to, or if I needed a sounding board,
Yeah.
I had nobody.
No one.
You see, and I can't explain how much that drained me. So I had to take a step back. As I grew older, I had to shed the fear of being friendless. I had to. And then I had to take on the new role of being picky with how I choose friends. So naweza kuwa nimekaa, but then I would like nakusoma, because I'm trying to see where your mind is at first, because you need friendships that nourish your brain.
Yeah.
You can't afford to waste time again with people who, like, I don't know, mnafanya mindless chatter all the time, you see. So unasoma mtu and naangalia where your brain is at, your thinking process, how you treat other people, how you treat yourself, because it's actually important to associate with people who are kind to themselves first, because then again, projection, mtu ana project onto you whatever and feel about themselves inside. So if you find somebody who's unkind to themselves, they're probably going to like talk down on you or give you backhanded compliments and stuff like that. So you have to be really picky with the people you choose to be your friends, you see. So it has actually been a journey, shedding off the fear of not having friends, and then taking on the new role of like vetting people before they actually become your friends, because then you'll have an easier time like identifying kama tunaweza move on to the next step of maybe being best friends, or I don't know, sisters in friendships or anything. It's easier to form your closer circle that way, compared to like kuambiana to, oh my god, when am I sis
Besties.
babes. You know, you see? Like sis,
Twins.
twins. Ni mbaya bana, ni mbaya. So at some point you need to be, I learned how to be really strict with vetting people who were to be my friends or even my close associates, you see. So yeah, I think intentional friendships really means something to me compared to back then. Yeah. And also talking about intentional friendships, please allow me to make this short point where I also learned to be intentional. Now I've vetted you, you're my friend now. So then I had to be really intentional about this friendship. Yes, I had to pour into this friendship, whether ni love, support, care, a listening ear, laughter, jokes, nini nini. I had to be really intentional with how I nurtured these friendships that I had already vetted. You see? So that tunapata in the end, even if your circle is small, it's small but it's intentional and it's nurturing part of you. It's pouring back into you. I know maybe mtu ako like 20 years akisikia tukisema hizi vitu ako like bra, unasema nini?
know.
I already have a best friend. I already have like a twinnie or something.
Yeah.
I have a twinnie.
Kuna in-laws.
Oh,
Yeah.
My wife.
You're playing.
I already have a wife. Oh my god.
You're married to Cecilia. Na mimi kwa baya yangu naweka bye to Brax.
Yeah.
Welcome correct.
So unaona vile how surface level those things are. If you haven't actually vetted this person enough to decide, okay, it's fine. Sasa now I can call you my wifey. You see, I can call you my bestie. I can call you my twin. You see, inabidi uko umefikia kiwango inabidi uko umefikia kiwango, umefikia ile level yenye nataka friendships zangu zicheze, unacheki. So intentionality is also one of the things that are really important to me in those intentional friendships.
I really want to hear Sisi's thoughts on that, because I think when you've mentioned we are all of us here are extroverts.
Na ni mbaya.
Yeah, na
Sisi wote tunasalimiana from the gate, the cooks, the nini. Yeah. You mabeshte wangu wote.
Yeah.
Of all age groups. Kuna mimi fulani hapo hivyo yenye inasema ati I'm in Netherlands and now I'm beefing with this old lady who served me teas in-laws because nimekaa hapo na yeye ameniserve chai but tumeongelelea nani alikufanyia what?
Yeah.
Anakushika
beef. Yeah.
I think one thing I had to unlearn is one, I know this is going to be controversial in a sense, but the idea of having one best friend. And yeah, I think I came to realize you cannot put the burden of one person fulfilling your multifaceted needs every single day, right? That there's someone who is a better listener, there's somebody who is more nurturing, there's somebody who is more supportive, there's somebody who will give you tough love, and you will get them from different people.
Yeah.
And you need all of them. But also at the same time, I had to unlearn a friend group. It's okay for your friends to not be all friends.
Yeah.
Sawa, huyu anaishi maisha yake na ni beshte yako, huyu anaishi maisha yake, like Daisy ni beshte yangu, me and Daisy are cool, but Daisy na Braxton, I don't have to force them to be friends.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a problem that extroverts have because I see the good in you and I see the good in you and I am assuming lazima mwelewane good friends. Lazima ni wa matchmake. And then now, yenye ikikwama, guy, anza kujikuna kichwa.
True, now
Responsibility. Yeah.
You initiated it.
Yes.
I get it.
So I had to unlearn that my friends don't have to be in a friend group, and this friend doesn't have to just all be together all the time. And me putting a pressure on myself to be like, unajua Brax ni mzuri, unajua Daisy ni mzuri. You know, like I don't have to do all that. So it's okay to have my friend who I know I can go to when this happens. It's okay to have another friend for this purpose. Like what Daisy has said, they can't be 1 million because you have to be intentional about all of them. While at the same time, they have to have reached a kiwango.
Two things.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a best friend and this best friend fulfills every multifaceted part of your life, you are among the blessed. Blessed are you. Write an ebook, tutasoma. Write a book, we'll read it, you know. But if you don't have a best friend, don't shoot yourself about it. I think me and Colin say we're hopping from one best friend to the other because I need a best friend, because if I have a best friend, it shows something about my character.
Yeah, you're normal.
Yeah, I'm normal and I am lovable. Hey. Hawa tusiguze you know, and feeling like maintaining one friendship is like a badge of honor, and not allowing myself to say that friendships comes with seasons and proximities and all of these things. Like my friend who we in high school, we fell out not because I was a bad friend but because I took high school. Siko shule moja na wewe, unaishi Migori. Julia. Because now it won't be the same as when you tulikuwa tunalala naamka nenda kwa bed yako tuna spend countless hours. It's quite the same. So allowing all your friends to be different. Si lazima ukue na one blueprint yenye tuliwatch yote kwa Hannah Montana.
And that was a lie. Oh my
God.
God.
By the Western world, we are
the Western world really affected us.
Hollywood.
People can lie.
Hollywood, I know.
They can lie. And I think I had to watch that in my mom's friends. Because mama yangu alikuwa na mabeshte wake wa chama au mabeshte wake wa chama. When they want to talk about my matters ya investment and money,
Yeah.
she talks to mabeshte wake wa chama. She had mabeshte wake wenye ni they were all married. So when you go to my married friends group, when you will talk about marriage and things like that, then niko na mabeshte wangu wa this, and she never used to mix these groups. Hii group iko na kazi yake na inafaa and she's just fine.
Yeah.
And so I think she used to wonder, why are you dying on a one hill? Yeah, this is my best friend.
My best friend is not talking
My
to
best
me.
friend ameniibia bwana. Karankanka. Breaking news. Your best friend amekuibia bwana. Now you have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Because we'll cut off everybody else because you're my best friend. You know my wife wako amekuibia bwana. So I think because mimi nimestruggle na friendships, wanting a friend group, wanting a best friend. I've struggled, and I think my fear was never about being friendless. I think in my mind that is impossible because how quickly I can form friends is insanity.
Yeah.
You know, I think my issue was the quality of the friendship. The quality of it. Like I want it to be fulfilling. I want it to be a friendship where I know I can depend on you and we are equally yoked. Like hakuna mtu mwenye anabeba the bigger burden. Tuko band for band. And I'm just like, nilikuwa nakaa hivi nasema, ama mimi niko na shida. And I was constantly worried about my picking skills. Nasema kama siwezi chagua female friend, naweza chagua bwana. Can I choose a business partner? Can I choose this? And it really affected my mind. But Saizi, listen to me, oh young girl. Cecilia in her 20s. Achana na friend group. Achana na kuwa force watu wa kaza Braxton. I'm so sorry, Brax. Brax nilikuwa na force in friend group.
You will pay me. Nataka restitution juu no way.
Brax nilikuwa kuja dukani hawa. Brax wako tu. Okay. So okay. But hatuwezi kata mimi na wewe, you know. See, we need the fellowship of other women.
Alafu ikamramba.
Tunairamba alafu narudi nasema I've learned.
Wapi?
Yani it was chaotic. But thanks for that. That was a really good one. Very mind opening. I think the next one for me is about music and entertainment. I think back in my teens, it was all like nilikuwa na absorb everything. Nilikuwa na watch hype series sai. I promise you nisha ban kwa CD. Get. Nisha ban kwa CD, niwe watch nini all 11 episodes na nangoja part B. Ni watch the rest of the 22.
Yeah.
You know. But saizi, I think hadi kuna a word for the phenomenon about being trapped in a particular time of music. Actually, wazazi wetu wako tu music in our day. Nilikuja kurealize kama it's a thing.
Yeah.
I think mimi niko trapped in a time and also in a mindset about I know what I want to watch. I am no longer just consuming anything and everything, you know.
Yeah.
Kama haizi sielewangi the place for horror movies na understand watu wengine inawapatia a thrill, but for me I feel 2 hours of my life is gone because watch Conjuring na haizi nifa
na utalala usiku.
You just traveled.
Yeah, niko troubled.
Yeah.
And you know, I had to like really go down the list about even documentaries. What do I want to watch? Says I know myself, I cannot watch serial killer documentaries. Nitakuwa hivi panic mode. Nasema
kuna vile mmepanga.
Suspecting everybody.
Your body suspect everybody. That is the anthem. Nataka kwa stairs naweza kukimbia. Niko hivi karibu na gate nitoka choka. In case somebody is following me behind there and you have been it's been yani I knew I cannot. Some people do that actually it's fun for them. True crime is not fun for me because I am thinking about mimi najiona hapo. Najiona kama ule dongo merasema twende kwako. Yeah, that's me, you know. So I think with music, with movies, I'm so intentional about what I listen to, what I spend my time consuming in terms of entertainment. Ni baya, nishakuwa mzee yake. Haizi nasikia kati wa kardinali nasema kama leo nimelala shock day ni kesho. Ni kesho.
Acha
shock day.
Yeah, shock day is tomorrow. Nikasema I ain't got time.
Tunakam
I ain't got
okay,
time to advance in the dictionary. I ain't got time. Brother wangu ananiambia vitu zingine nasema hiyo ni ma what?
Yeah.
Ma what? Wakadinani haizi put a
Short
hand,
days tomorrow.
put a
I don't
gun
know,
to
I
my
never knew
head
that.
and tell me name one Wakadinali song. I know the songs. But will it, if do I know the nini? Na nijua nimesikia huko kwa mamat, kwa nini? Like ningekuwa naishi huko kwa Bundus.
Wallahi you guys.
Sijajua.
Wazuchu ungekuwa tu
Yeah, niko tu hivi. Naimba tu mataarab.
yeah.
That's my vibe every day, for real. Yeah, Brax.
Music and entertainment. I think mimi nilikuwa one of those crazy people who really enjoyed horror movies at a particular point in my life. Okay, I was a psycho.
Are you okay?
Hata mimi najishuku. Nilikuwa najishuku at that point because because I remember there's this time kulikuwa na blackout at home and then so kila mtu ako tu scattered in the house. Mimi nilikuwa in my room, nilikuwa na watch Annabelle and I'm enjoying mpaka ninacheka. I'm like, check hao wajinga. Honestly, that was so psychotic of me. But now over time,
I've never watched Annabelle.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Nini? I don't care.
Me too.
Sijalibeba dolls.
me those things really messed up my mind. I can't like because I remember after nimewatch what was this clown movie? It. Immediately nimewatch It. Mama ametoka tu hike huko, I mean nini thrifting huko West. Alafu akakuja na like a clown doll ya kuhold vichana, right? So ameiweka hapo kwa corridor. That was my last encounter with horror movies because nimetoka hivi kwa my room sasa nimemaliza watch It. It's like around up 3 a.m. right? Toka and then I'm going to the washroom niende nilale. Naangalia corridor naona clown. Nikajua kwisha. Nimefikiwa. And so I start screaming and from that point I've never really like I don't watch horror movies and I'm also very careful with the things I consume. And I don't know, when it comes to music I think I'm an old soul and I know nikisema hii kwanza watu watanirushia mawe.
Nikwambie. Ya Brax is on another level.
Yeah.
Brax ataanza kuwa na vinyl. Unajua watu tunakuwa na vinyl wanaweka hivi.
Yeah. I even have like tape recorders like I'm such an yeah.
Wallahi need to see.
My used to love listening to hizi lingala zilizopendwa, you know, all this Congolese music. And also in terms of like my music taste. And hey guys, ni mbaya. I mean sometimes I look at my music. Honestly, it brings me so much comfort, but you know, of course it's strange, especially because I'm a Gen Z. And then I have friends who pia music yao ni very because of the ones from Nairobi. Hey, wanana
indie music.
I know.
Wewe enda Godwana wewe.
Ukigenda sana kodo.
Wa akisema akikai.
Hii Moreland sijui Coachella. Umenipoteza kweli. Doja Cat.
Unataka tuende concert ya Doja Cat?
Always enda Coachella?
Wimbo hata mmoja napata hivi. Hey, wimbo ni smart.
Kuna beat tamu.
Sina wimbo ni smart. Niko hii beat nimesikia mahali. Ali sample gani?
Iko kwa YouTube.
Unaanza
Oh my god.
yeah. And so yeah, sometimes of course you don't fit in. And not only that, I think in terms of like what I consume, I noticed music has such an influence on me, right? Especially being someone who I think I internalize a lot, or as people would put it nowadays, overthinkers, yeah. And so sometimes najipata nime overthink lyrics but I'm just like the music I just want to listen to. And I think the Gengeton era really affected me. Nothing. Oh.
Ai Buddha.
But there's one catchy one here. Last chance, last chance. That one is quite catchy. Sijui vizuri cha
Kalamba down.
Nisijaibishe. Nisi baya. And so
I think Kalamba down Buddha.
there's an era
guided.
jipanda na ni nane ni hapo ndo
Hata
niliacha.
hiyo ni dark days
walikutoa
hizo.
kwa
Niacha hapo nikasema hizi ni maua.
Those were really dark days because we were just kids listening to that crap.
Mimi nilikuwa nashangaa.
Ati wa
Acha story. House yangu alislip. Akakuja kaniambia, karibu nilambe lolo." Jira kulamba lolo ni kuanguka kulamba chini. Karibu nilambe lolo. I was like, unasema nini?
okay. Yes, your life is a movie.
Cheza. Karibu nilambe lolo.
Bro, surely.
Vocabulary. Jura mimi natumia vibaya.
Because I'm about to go tell my mom, shock day.
Shock day.
yeah.
Shock day.
Shock day tunadu.
Chapata na shock day.
Yeah. Umeanza kuingia Illuminati wewe. Umeanza kuvuta bangi. Yeah. And so I think for me there's an era nimeshasema but utakat hiyo part. There's an era in Kenya music that really I didn't like that music because it was so
Objectifying.
yeah, and then pia as a skinny girl
empty
I didn't
lyrics.
take it very lightly because mbona unanitukana I was just chilling.
True.
You know, seriously.
Sisi watu dera.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think I'm very picky with the kind of music I choose. I listen to. And so I think for me it's just safe to listen to old music because I think during this time people actually meant what they sang. And it's music that, you know, it's so I don't know, you can just resonate with them. And don't save me, I'm fine where I am. And I know I don't really fit in when it comes to like music and my generation. And it's okay. And I think one thing I am so not proud of, but I'm okay with, is the fact that I don't listen to a lot of upcoming artists in Kenya. You know, like I know we're talking now. Yeah, I know their music. Of course, Jim Seto and stuff like that.
Should listen to Keithan though. Keithan.
I know he has a nice voice. I listen to Kinoti. Tunde Spotify.
Kinoti.
Exactly. I love Kinoti.
Unajua tu Njoki Karo.
And Jinje
Njoki Karo.
Ay.
Now I'll put you on.
Si hata mimi nimekuputa na pabuda. Who is Keithan? Nimekwambia usikize Keithan.
Mimi
Naomba nitumie Spotify. Jina pia imeweza kuwa.
Tanda kutumia basi.
hata mimi unitumie.
Utatumia.
Of course I know a few of them, but like I can't go to a concert. I won't vibe because sijui nini inaendelea. And I'm sorry guys, but it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. So I think this is, in the interest of time, I think this is the last point I'm gonna make. And one of the things that I really value right now that I couldn't give two shits about a while back was time. Time is so valuable. I don't know, once you waste even 10 minutes of your life, you're never getting it back in any form. And I feel like before I came to this realization, like I wasted, it's embarrassing to say, even it's not minutes or seconds or hours or weeks. I wasted years.
Yeah.
I wasted like 2 years of my life. I could say that I was figuring myself out during this period because then I came out stronger. But then every time I sit back and like question, okay, it's true, I was figuring myself out. But then what other thing came out of this figuring yourself out period?
Yeah.
You see? Nothing substantive came out of it. I fell off of school even. Like I used to perform terribly. Ukiangalia transcript yangu saizi, iko na some very embarrassing grades. Yenye ina go hand in hand na hiyo time yenye nilikuwa in a very confusing space, you see. So I do, to some extent, I think I'm confident when I say that I regret wasting that time yenye nili waste your time kwa sababu if I was to go back to that period with the knowledge I have now, and then came back again to this point, ningekuwa mbali, aki ningekuwa far. You see? And it's very sad that I had to go through this. Yes, I mean, my parents would tell me, don't waste your youth, don't waste your time and everything. I wish I had listened. But then I didn't. I had to actually waste my time and live through the consequences of wasting my time in order to know that I cannot afford to waste any more time. You see?
Yeah.
So it's sad that sometimes ukikataa kusikia, you will just go through it, literally, and there's nothing else you can do about it. But then I feel like it's also good to like give myself grace, because then I was just 22. Sikuwa najua the magnitude of time wasting and my actions then. Ndio naziona saizi. But then I also give the 22-year-old me grace, because a 22-year-old is so young. You're yet to know so many things. You're yet to conceptualize a lot of things, to process a lot of realities. So Nikama, actually, I think 22 and 23, those are the most confusing ages, because so much is going on. Ndio unaingia hivi sasa kwa peak adulting, na ndio unatoka kwa utoto hivi. So you're kind of in the middle, you see, and you're figuring it out by yourself, because automatically kwanza ukiingia 20, you're an adult, you can live anywhere, you can even go abroad alone and start a life there, you see. So yeah, I think now I wouldn't waste my time in situations that don't serve me, in things that won't bear fruit. I'd never waste my time on things that I like used to do. Then I'm better, I know better, I know more. So yeah, that's that.
I think, but to piggyback on what you're saying about time, I think also it has translated to how I feel about people who waste my time. Like, what do you mean you're an hour late to something that we planned together? Because you're assuming I don't have anything else to do. There's a disrespect in lateness to that communication that is nasikianga hadi kwa bones. Like, if you communicate and something happened, I understand. But yeah, when chill tu na come, I've been waiting for 30 minutes. Mpaka mse wangu wa boda anajua. Mse wangu ana boda anajuanga 10 minutes maximum, nimepanda boda ingine. You know, it has really, and also now me feeling the burden of not wasting other people's time. It's something that you have to learn with growing, because you realize time is of the essence. Kabla alikuwa anasemanga. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to The Absolute End. We'd like to know your evolution story and some of the things that you have unlearned or that are critical to you now that back in the day ulikuwa umelenga. These are things that even in your comment, tunaweza kafikiria, by the way, ebu ni think about that again, you know. So we can all sharpen each other. Yeah, we can all sharpen each other. We can revisit other things and we can change our mind about other things. Lakini hapo kwa muziki hamwezi change my mind. Yo imeenda. Yo imeenda.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. We love you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.